All right, let's jump right in. We're in this weird moment where AI is getting incredibly good at things we thought were uniquely human, like judgment and communication. And it's making us all ask a pretty fundamental question. What's left for us to do? Where does that irreplaceable, truly human value actually live? Today, we're going to explore how the very definition of professional skill is being rewritten as we speak. So here's the game plan. First, we'll tackle the big skill question that AI is forcing on all of us. Then, we'll meet a totally new kind of role, the intent designer. After that, we'll get our hands dirty with a practical framework for actually finding this human layer. And to wrap it all up, we're going to turn the camera around and focus on you.
Okay, so let's just hit it head on, right? The anxiety we're all kind of feeling. For our entire careers, things like good communication and solid judgment were the name of the game. That was our turf. But as AI gets better and better, you gotta ask, where do we fit into that picture?
This really is the strategic question of the decade. I mean, if an AI can write the email, draft the proposal, and even tweak the tone for the right audience, what are we even getting paid for? What is our unique contribution? Well, the answer, it turns out, starts by realizing that we've been thinking about communication itself completely backwards.
And here is the big aha moment. We talk about communicating like it's a single thing we do, but it's not. It's actually a whole factory, a complex assembly line with multiple steps that runs inside our brains, mostly on autopilot, every single day.
Just look at this production floor running in your head. It all starts with the raw thought, the intent, that's step one, and that's all human. But then look what happens next. You have to package that idea with context, then encode it into the right words, then you profile the person you're talking to, then you adjust your tone and style, and only then, finally, do you hit send. It's exhausting just talking about it. No wonder our inboxes give us so much stress. We're running this entire 6-step microfactory for every single email. And this is the twist. This is where AI completely flips the script. In this new world, steps 2 through 6, all the tedious, time-consuming mechanical parts of that assembly line, they just get outsourced. The AI becomes the middleware. It handles the phrasing, the tone, the translation. All you have to bring to the table is the pure, clear intent from step 1. The AI runs the rest of the factory for you. So, what happens when most of that assembly line gets automated? Well, it means a new, way more valuable role starts to emerge. Our focus shifts from crafting the perfect, polished sentence to something much, much deeper. This slide just lays it out so clearly. For so long, your value was all about how well you could express an idea. Your polish, your fancy words, that's all getting flipped on its head. The new value, the real prize, is the quality of your intent before anyone even writes a word. We're moving from the how to the what and the why. And this new role actually has a name, the intent designer. And no, this isn't just a fancy title for a writer. Think of this person more like an architect for ideas. Their job isn't about being efficient with words. It's about being rigorous with thoughts. They design the meaning, the worldview, the core narrative, and then let the machine build the sentences. I mean, think about the responsibility here. If an AI can spit out 1,000 different ways to say something, your value isn't in generating another one. It's in having the wisdom and clarity to choose the single one that best serves the core mission. You're not just a communicator anymore. You're basically the chief meaning officer for your team. And this isn't just some abstract theory. Check out this real-world example from Japan. You have this brilliant local tech expert with super deep insights. That's high-quality intent. But they could never quite break through to a global audience. So they fed that raw intent into an AI. The AI didn't just translate the words. It translated the context, the style, the tone, the terminology for global investors on LinkedIn. Now, on one hand, that's amazing. It's democratizing access. But here's the catch. It also centralizes risk. If your original intent is flawed, the AI will perfectly, beautifully, and instantly scale that flaw across the entire planet. Okay, so if these new skills like intent design, deep judgment, radical self-awareness are the new gold, we've got a huge practical problem. How in the world do you actually measure them? How do you spot this stuff in an interview? Well, to solve exactly that problem, a new framework called STAR 3.0 has popped up. It was developed by Yohei Honda, and it's basically an upgrade to the old-school behavioral interview. But this version is specifically engineered to get past the polished, rehearsed stories and actually find that cognitive core, that human layer we've been talking about. The beauty of it is that it's super simple.
It's built on 3 layers. Layer 1 is about what happened. Layer 2, and this is the most important one, is about meta-reflection, which is a fancy way of saying how well do you understand yourself. And Layer 3 is about connecting the dots to the future of the company. Let's see how it works, starting with Layer 1. Right off the bat, you can see how it's different. In a normal interview, you'd ask, what task were you assigned? Star 3.0 asks, what role did you decide to take? See the difference? It's looking for agency, not just obedience. Same with the result. It's not just what happened, it's what happened and what did you learn from it. It demands that they've actually thought about their experiences.
But honestly, Layer 1 is just the warm-up. The real magic, the part that actually separates a doer from an intent designer, is Layer 2, meta-reflection. This is where you measure the engine inside their head. It's where a candidate has to prove they have genuine self-awareness.
And it does that with 3 really clever probes. First, can they spot holes in their own story and fix them on the fly? Second, can they generalize? Can they turn one story into a rule about themselves, like, I've noticed I tend to do X whenever Y happens? And third, can they talk about their weaknesses like a pro, not as a character flaw, but with real examples of how they manage and work around them? That shows they're not a liability. They're an operator.
And finally, Layer 3 just ties it all together. This is the so what part. It's where the candidate has to connect everything they just told you about themselves, their patterns, their insights, their self-awareness, directly to the job, this team, this company. It basically asks, okay, knowing all of that about yourself, why are you a perfect fit for us right now?
So let's zoom out and put all these pieces together. On one side, you have AI automating the expression of ideas, and on the other, you have new frameworks demanding we get crystal clear about the source of those ideas, which is us. And that creates a pretty profound shift in where the real work lies. So here it is. This is the new workflow. You start with high-quality human intent. That's the raw material. You use a tool like Star 3.0, like a mirror, to refine and clarify that intent. And only then, when it's pure and clear, do you feed it into the AI's expression engine. Garbage in, garbage out has never been more true. The quality of what comes out is now 100% dependent on the quality of what you put in.
And that's really the bottom line of this whole thing. The most valuable professional skill is no longer about having a silver tongue or being an efficient executor. The burden is shifting. It's moving away from perfect delivery and onto perfect clarity of thought. If you want the machine to produce quality, you have to start with quality inside yourself. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. It's not enough anymore to just be a good communicator. The real frontier, the real work, is becoming a better self-observer. So what is the one behavioral pattern, that one I tend to do X when Y happens rule, that you need to get clear on for yourself? Not just to nail your next interview, but to raise the quality of every single idea you put out into the world. Because that self-knowledge, that is the human layer.